Welcome to the show, guys. Happy Monday. We are talking about 5 quarterbacks that are going to be great value for fantasy football 2022. You can call them 5 quarterback sleepers. I want to deep dive into these guys and why I think they could be great value in your drafts this year. Instead of overpaying for, let's say, a Pat Mahomes or a Josh Allen, you might be able to get these guys for value and have them perform on a top 10 type level. Okay, guys? So value quarterbacks here today. I'm super excited to dive into this show. Fantasy Football 2022 will be here before we know it. I know there's a lot trending in the news. I'm going to dive into that a little bit here as well. Tom Brady is back, so that's really exciting. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But I also want to note that March Madness is here, guys. You can enhance that game watching experience. The way I do it is I go to mybookie.ag. There's a code here. You can scan it on YouTube. MyBookie.ag. Use code FFC upon sign up. Guys, amazing incentives with them. And I'm telling you guys, this is where you're going to make March Madness a lot more fun. That's MyBookie.ag. Use code FFC. Go create an account and have some fun this year. Okay, guys? And again, with the breaking news here, let's talk real quickly. Tom Brady's back. Pretty remarkable. I mean, when you're that good, and you still got it in you, why not continue to play? And, he's going to be back. And again, I really think he's going to get another ring. I really want to talk about that. Again, great talent. Good to see him on the field again and get another maybe 1-2 years out of watching greatness play. So I'm excited about the return of Tom Brady with the Buccaneers. And also at the time of this recording, again, Davante Adams, apparently he wants to get a mega contract and wants to reset the market here for wide receiver. Packers only offering $20.1 million in a franchise tender. He's declining it. So I think he's well deserving of a mega contract. And, with Aaron Rodgers being paid as much as he is, Davante Adams should get that as well because he's a big part of Aaron Rodgers' success and, of course, the Packers. So a couple of just news bites I want to talk about there that really caught my attention over the past couple of days. All right, let's talk about these quarterback sleepers here. So let's talk about Russell Wilson first here. He's my first guy here. Now, you're saying, well, Joe, he's not really a sleeper. Well, he kind of is. He's sitting 11th amongst quarterbacks. Now, when I look at Russell Wilson's numbers, they don't relatively look that exciting. I mean, if you look at his last year's numbers, 242 fantasy points. You're like, well, Joe, that's not that exciting. Why do you like Russell Wilson? He only threw 25 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Well, Russell Wilson gets a lot done on the ground, on his feet. I think he's got 2 good wide receivers in Judy and Sutton there with the new transition there over to the Denver Broncos. And I look at his 2019 and 2020 stats, and he had, 328.6 fantasy points in 2019 and 359.78 fantasy points in 2020. This is a guy, when healthy, and he's been, knock on wood, healthy pretty much his entire career. He's missed a few games like here and there. A couple games in 2015, a couple games in 2014. He's like an Iron Man. He gets it done, and he always finishes near the top. He's always pretty much in top 10. Had a couple years when he fell out of the top 10, but overall, this guy's been playing since 2012 and always pretty much produces 300 points plus. And I understand, like, his passing yards are never that exciting. They're just around 4,000, 35 to 4,000. He's not a big, huge, passing yard guy. He always gets into the mix. His peak touchdowns were in 2020 with 40 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. But the thing is, I think a lot of people will sleep on Russell Wilson because I look at the consensus rankings. I'm going to pull them up now. And when you look at the consensus rankings, you look at basically guys like Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, even Lamar Jackson, these guys that people are going to overpay for. And that's one thing I hate doing is overpaying for a quarterback. And last year I spotted out Justin Herbert, right? I'm like, everyone's paying high for Pat Mahomes. I get Justin Herbert like round 5. He was my value guy. This year I'm trying to find the diamond in the rough. And I think Russell Wilson, predicated kind of where he's sitting, and I think people are going to sleep on him. He's sitting, like, again, 11th on the consensus rankings. People are going to be paying higher for, Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, Pat Mahomes, while Russell Wilson will be kind of that value pick that can really anchor your team, get you those points, okay? So Russell Wilson's a guy I think people will be sleeping on that could, again, finish top 5, top 10. He's got that potential, okay, guys? Second guy here, I think people will be sleeping on him a little bit because, again, there's those big names that are attracting people, but this guy could anchor your team. Tom Brady coming back. He's going to win a Super Bowl ring. And I don't know if you guys believe about the Fix Is In. I did a show. I brought Brian Toohey on the show, the guy that wrote the book, The Fix Is In. And I think some of these games are fixed, man. I think they're designed a way for these players to go out with an exclamation point, similar to Peyton Manning, similar to Ray Lewis and other players that retire on a high note. I think Tom Brady is one of those guys going to retire on a high note. How does that translate to fantasy and calling him a sleeper? As of right now, I see him being in the top 10 on the consensus rankings, maybe just in the top 10 or just outside the top 10. But, with Tom Brady, you're going to get those points. You're going to get that consistency. You're going to get, a guy that's going to perform on a high level, that wants to win another Super Bowl ring and end off on a high note. And I really genuinely feel that that's what's going to happen. Now, if I look at his numbers in 2021, great year. 43 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 374 points, finished third amongst quarterbacks. Now, the consensus could slide him in near the top, but Tom Brady's not a guy that goes typically in the second round amongst quarterbacks. They like those young, youthful Herberts, Allens, and Pat Mahomes now this year, right? So I'm thinking Brady might slide, and if he does slide, I'd love to get him in the 5th round and then also get him a backup as well. But he's going to perform on a high level, consistent with the yardage. I mean, if you look at 2021, he was number 1 in yardage was 53-16, passing yards, 43 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So he gets it done. And another thing I really liked with Tom Brady's is his attempts. He was number 1 in attempts with 719. So obviously we know he doesn't get it done on the ground. We kind of get that. But what he doesn't get on the ground, he makes up in, accurate passing touchdowns and no interceptions, okay, or minimal interceptions, all right? So Tom Brady, high note, could be value this year. Next guy here, currently sitting 19th on the consensus rankings, the Kin Sheepses, is Mac Jones. Now, Mac Jones, the guy finished 18th last year amongst quarterbacks in fantasy points. But understand, guys, this was his rookie first year. And a lot of quarterbacks tend not to perform well in their first year. Still managed a 23 touchdown, 13 interception type ratio. Not the greatest. 3,800 passing yards, 3,801 to be exact. So, I mean, nothing sexy, but the guy didn't have a lot of good wide receivers. Hopefully they, improve his wide receiver core. Hopefully he gets better options. Hopefully he does better. And I see no way but up for Mac Jones, a guy that could be a steal on the team, on your fantasy teams. Now, if you are drafting him, make sure you consider him as a backup with some massive upside, and understand that Brady performed very well on the Patriots for years, and Mac Jones could be that sleeper pick that could emerge and be a top 10, right? He is good. He's relatively consistent, and he's young. He's dynamic. Now, when you look at his rushing, he actually went for 44 attempts, 129 yards, 0 rushing touchdowns. So you're saying, well, Joe, he's not going to give me a lot of rushing touchdowns. Well, this is showing that there's a possible ceiling for some rushing. So there's something to be had maybe. He has 0 rushing touchdowns, and he finished 18th. Pepper in a few rushing touchdowns, pepper in a better touchdown to interception ratio, and you've got him slid into the top 10. So I'm saying there's a ceiling there that he hasn't even scratched. There's something there for Mac Jones, right? It just, again, the wide receivers weren't the sexiest for him, okay? Now, guys, if you have not gotten my 16-round draft solution and pre-ordered it, make sure you guys get it. This has all the answers, sleepers, breakouts, all the optimal players drafted in each round, omitting all the guys to avoid. Everything in the 16-round draft solution. Make sure you guys link here below. Head on over to thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. Secure the solution, all right, guys? Draft kits are dead. If you guys want to win, this is it. All right, coming to number 4 here now. Again, I can see this guy sliding up once he finds a landing spot. At the time of this recording, still a lot of uncertainty, and has been the biggest topic of news is Deshaun Watson. I don't care where he lands. If he's got good receivers, take this knowledge and understand that if Deshaun Watson has good receivers, good O-line, he will perform well, top 10 type potential. Now, Deshaun Watson, again, I'm not going to speculate on where he's going to land. We don't know. Well, that's a big part of it. But Deshaun Watson, if healthy, and again, looking at his 2020 numbers in Houston with a mediocre offense, at 369 fantasy points. He's versatile. He gets it done on the ground. 3 rushing touchdowns that season, and he had 93 rush attempts. He's versatile. He also gets it done in the air, throwing 4,823 yards. He's that perfect mix and combination of passing and running. Love Deshaun Watson no matter where he lands, and I would assume he's going to land in a spot that he's going to perform. So when he does land there, make sure you look at his wide receivers, look at his O-line, look at the situation, and understand he could be value because the mainstream may sleep on him slightly, simply predicated on the fact that he didn't perform last year, right? He didn't play. So the fact that, the recency bias might, bring him down in value for you guys, and he could be that ace quarterback that you could get rounds 4 and 5 if he falls. But Deshaun Watson's a guy that could really be a league winner at quarterback, like the upside. At number 5, not the sexiest, kind of boring, But understand, I'm going to explain why I like this guy. So listen up here, guys. And again, in the comments below, comment below if you are on YouTube. Let me know which sleeper quarterbacks you like, and if these guys, could be value for you guys, if you guys think they could be good sleepers. But number 5 here is Ryan Tannehill. Let me explain why. Ryan Tannehill finished 12th amongst quarterbacks in 2021, 21 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 37-34 when you are looking at passing yards, and 268.36 fantasy points. Well, he's saying, well, Joe, 12th, not the sexiest. But here's the deal. Ryan Tannehill is being slept on, currently sitting 16th on the consensus rankings, and he is a guy that gets it done. Let me explain. Also, one more thing I got to explain here, is Derrick Henry. He was gone half the season, and he's a big part of Ryan Tannehill's success, right? He's an outlet for him, and he wasn't there, and Tannehill still finished 12th. Looking at his 2020 numbers, he was 7th amongst quarterbacks, okay? So Ryan Tannehill, 7th amongst quarterbacks in in 2020 with 344 points. Nice touchdown and interception ratio of 33 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Again, in and around that 3,800 mark for passing yards. Ryan Tannehill finished 7th. Again, that's with Derrick Henry there. Derrick Henry out last year, still managed to finish, where did he finish? 12th. And understand, if Ryan Tannehill comes back, and you got to understand that these guys are going to be making a strong run for the Super Bowl. So I imagine this is his last hurrah. This is his last stand, and he's going to play with absolute certainty. Now, would I be comfortable having him as my starting quarterback? Would I be thrilled? Last year, I had Justin Herbert as my starting quarterback, so it's a little more exciting, a little more upside. But Ryan Tannehill is a guy that you can plug in, that can anchor your team safely week in, week out, and can perform on that level every single week. Not going to be the sexiest pick, but it could be a value pick that can carry you every single week. And again, I'm going to pull up his stats here real quickly in 2021, and they weren't the nicest, but he's always producing. His lowest game, he had a couple low games, week 11 and 12, 9-pointer and 8-pointer, then a 9-pointer in week 15. But overall, you're getting the 12, 15, 20 points a game, very consistent throughout the entire season. And understand, this was a season pretty much with Derrick Henry being gone. So Derrick Henry coming back is really going to help him a lot, I think, as well. I know they're going to run the ball more. You're saying, well, Joe, they're going to run the ball more, but it's going to give him more time, better pass protection. I got an outlet for him, a safety blanket, maybe more time to throw the ball, and just work that offense a little more efficiently with Derrick Henry there. So, again, he's performed well with Derrick Henry there. Derrick Henry back. Derrick Henry having a good year. I still think Tannehill could thrive. All right, guys? And that's pretty much it, guys, for sleeper quarterbacks. In this episode, there's tons more sleepers. There's tons more to talk about. Make sure you guys are subscribed. We are here in the offseason, so get that 16-round draft solution for the lowest price of the season, and stay subscribed. Stay in tune in the offseason. Put in the work now and the analysis so that you guys can, train hard, fight easy. You know what I'm saying? All right, guys, subscribe. I appreciate you guys, and we'll talk soon. I'm out.